well, welcome uh, uh, to our guaranteed income cohort for the city of Sacramento. And I hope that you are doing well. Can you believe it, that we're a quarter of a way through the program, a quarter of the way there. You received 3 payments of $500 a month. I've been hearing and reading some amazing stories from you all. I've really appreciated hearing those stories about the impact that this program and those additional resources have had on your life so far. And one of the things that we're also very grateful for is our partnership with Safe Credit Union, not only for hosting most of the accounts and through which most of our participants are receiving their funds, but also that of no benefit to their own. They're giving a lot of additional time and resources to invest in the community. They're very much committed to the community, and including financial education. And so we're very grateful for that, and they're going to be a part of our journey throughout this year in sharing some thoughts that will help us leverage this unique moment where we have these additional resources to hopefully achieve some financial goals over the course of this year that are going to set a strong foundation and make lifelong improvements. So it doesn't feel like at the end of one year when payments stop, it feels like you're right back in that point of struggle, but that you feel like you've made real sustainable progress in your finances. And so I did not write that down, but that does lead into a lot of what Miriam, our good friend from Safe Credit Union, will be talking about tonight, because I know this just from my own personal experience, as well as some of the professional roles I've been in working with individuals and their finances, especially individuals who are at a place where they're struggling to make ends meet. And that is the importance. If I'm right, we're talking about emergency savings. That's right. Good. I was thinking through the schedule. But we're talking about that tonight. And it has not only in terms of stories of impact proven true, but just statistically, overwhelmingly, individuals who can get to a point where you do whatever you need to do to get that emergency savings can be a real game changer in your overall financial health and well-being. So hopefully I'm not stealing any thunder. I'm sure I'm not, because Maureen is going to do a much better job. So we'll get to hear from Maureen. And then later on, we're going to have another good friend of ours, Maureen Paley, join us with the Financial Empowerment Center. She's going to share a little bit about some of the resources that they have and they offer to members of our community. So with that said, Miriam, I'll let you take it away, and I'll disappear from the screen and let you present. But thank you again on behalf of United Way and the second cohort, the city of Sacramento, and our cohort participants. Really grateful for you tonight. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much for having us. We really do appreciate the ability to be able to engage with the cohort, and whoever is going to view this video, hopefully y'all will be able to gain some financial education knowledge. As we know, it's not something that is readily available to us, oddly enough, although it should be available everywhere. So today's topic, and as I'm pulling up the screen, I'm going to go ahead and just introduce myself a little bit. I know I have been able to engage with y'all before, but nonetheless, an intro is necessary. So my name is Miriam Doherty. I am a financial wellness educator here at Safe Credit Union. So a lot of what I do is address and talk to nonprofits and schools and just our community at large about the importance of financial education. And myself, along with my lovely colleague, Savannah Brown, we both engage in different ways when it comes to all topics related to financial education, just to ensure that our communities are set up for financial success. So one of the topics that we are going to cover throughout this cohort is going to be creating a savings plan for any emergency. And as we know, especially as we have dealt with the pandemic, it is very important that we do have a savings plan and a emergency savings to prepare us for anything. And so we wouldn't be in the world of numbers without giving y'all a little bit of statistics to go along with why we feel that having an emergency savings is important. 40% of individuals who took a survey stated that they wouldn't be able to cover a $400 emergency expense with cash. So that in turn leads the 27% of individuals who said that they would need to borrow money or they would need to sell an item in order to be able to cover that emergency expense. 12% said that they would not be able to cover it at all. And the other 12% said that they would not be able to pay their current bills while also covering that emergency expense. So in the chat, if you are so willing to do so, feel free to utilize that chat button, which is located at the bottom of your screen, to answer this question. Remember, this is a judgment-free zone. So the question is, do you have an emergency savings? And it's really important to decipher the difference between a regular savings account and an emergency savings account. And I'll go into that in a little bit. If you want to utilize that chat box to identify whether you have a savings account or emergency savings account or not. So we got a yes or no. And again, this is a judgment-free zone, so there is no judgment in place at all, whether you have one or you do not. All right, so we have a yes or no, we have a no savings, and you do not know where the savings needs to be. So what is an emergency savings account? So an emergency savings account is separate from a regular savings account. So we have a regular savings account to cover our goals. What kind of goals do we want to achieve? Whether that's being able to save for a down payment on a vehicle, being able to pay off debt, being able to go on a trip, being able to replace something in your household that you know is going to cost money, so you need a little bit of time to be able to cover that expense. That is what a regular savings account is. It's meant for achieving certain financial goals that you might have in mind. Whereas your emergency savings account is a separate savings aside from that, is covered in a financial institution that covers or either offsets the expense of an unforeseen situation. So this is your cushion in case something were to happen that would not allow you to ordinarily cover that expense if you didn't have this kind of savings account. So some unforeseen circumstances or situations could be job fluctuations or job loss. Again, as we learned in the pandemic, a lot of people either lost their jobs or they decided to transition into a different occupation. Nonetheless, when you are in a new occupation or a new job, you're not going to receive a paycheck right away. So it does definitely take time. So that emergency expense savings account is definitely going to help you cushion out your expenses in order to cover your financial responsibilities. Then we have unexpected expenses. I know a few of us on this call have kids in school, and a lot of our children, unless we're getting a note from the teacher or an email, we will not know when certain events or activities take place that cost money. And typically our children will tell us either last minute or just not tell us at all until we get a call from the school asking for certain funds to cover a field trip or an extracurricular activity, in which case, if we do not have the funds in that moment or an emergency savings account, we will be scrambling and or our child will not be able to partake in whatever it is that they are supposed to at school. I know, and I'm hoping that once my son is old enough that he will remember last night as a good example. Mind you, he's 5 years old, so let's give him a little bit of grace. But as a good example, he told me that he needed to bring to school yellow apples. I couldn't find yellow apples anywhere, so I was scrambling. Fortunately, I was able to find some golden delicious apples, but if we want to replace that example with if he were to need money and I didn't have it, how would I be able to cover that in real time and allow him to experience whatever with his classmates? Other unforeseen expenses are car repairs and just different types of repairs that we need to address, whether it be in our home or our vehicle or work equipment that is our property. A lot of the times, these kinds of repairs are not just dollars, they're tons of dollars that we need to be able to have in order to fix that cost right away, especially if it's especially if we need to cover it because of transportation, be able to get from point A to point B, or if we need it for work, how would we be able to perform our regular job functions without replacing and or getting in real time support from our job? Sometimes we need to cover those expenses in real time because they can't reimburse us right away for those repairs or replacements. So that emergency savings account really does help with that. And then, as I mentioned before, we've all experienced the pandemic and we've all witnessed either ourselves in our household or our family or our friends. We all have experienced someone, if not us, losing a part of our household income because somebody in our household or us who we relied on for that income was unable to do so because they were sick. So, covering also those medical expenses that are unprepared for, unexpected, is definitely what an emergency savings account is meant to do for you. So, why do you need an emergency fund? And as I've mentioned before, there are tons of different circumstances that can be catastrophic to us that can really hurt our finances and our financial well-being. But when it comes to the inner part of us and why we need it is the ability to have those choices. You don't want to go with the cheapest thing just because that's the only thing you can afford, because a lot of the times what that results in is you having to replace it sooner rather than later. And then in the long run, it ends up costing you a lot more money and time rather than being able to have the choice to spend more money on the quality type of replacement. Then we have that stability and security that we feel when we have some sort of a cushion backing us up. We tend to be creatures of habit where we want to know exactly what's going to happen to us in 5 years last week. And as we know, unless you're a fortune teller, you're never going to know that. And so we want to be able to have that stability financially to be able to feel secure in case something catastrophic in our world were to happen. And we would need to have some sort of a fund to back us to cover certain expenses. Along with feeling secure and feeling stable in your finances is the ability to make better decisions when it comes to something that is happening in your life and you need to make choices on. You feel less pressure, you feel a lot less pressure when you know that you will be able to cover whatever expense is coming your way. You then don't feel the need to act on impulse just because whatever's coming your way and you need to act on it quick. You have the ability to stop and think and assess the situation and really make the best choice for you and your household. And again, with all of this, it comes with peace of mind. Gone are the days when you have an emergency savings account that you feel like you're going to wake up in the middle of the night in a complete panic because you do not know how you were going to get through this without one, having to borrow money, without two, being behind on another financial responsibility, or without three, feeling like you're completely at a loss and you're letting not only yourself down, but maybe your family members or your loved ones, however that looks. Having an emergency savings account definitely gives you that peace of mind that we all deserve and we all need. So in the chat box, I want to challenge all of you to tell me about how many months worth of essential living expenses do you need to have in a savings account to cover those expenses. So about how many months do you think you need to accumulate worth of money to be able to cover essential living expenses? Is it 3 months? Is it 1 week? Is it 12 months? How many months do you think you should have in an emergency savings account to cover essential living expenses? So we got 3 to 4 months, Okay. So we got a couple of months in there. There's no really right or wrong answer, especially if you are starting to establish an emergency savings account. So I don't want this number to discourage anyone. But ideally, one should have at least 3 to 6 months worth of money to cover essential living expenses. And by essential living expenses, I mean this is your shelter, this is your ability to go from point A to point B, this is your groceries, these are your basic clothing needs. These are all the things that you need in order to get by. Um, and it might sound like a lot of money. So let's not start there and feel discouraged, because it really can get away from us fairly quickly. So here are 3 ways or 3 steps to build out that emergency savings account. And step 1 is to know the amount that you should ideally have. I like to start any goal or start any journey of saving for money with the end goal in mind. How much money do I ideally want to save? And this goes for any type of savings goal that I have, whether it be an emergency goal or if I want to go on a vacation. I want to know exactly how much money I need to have. So the way that you're going to do this is by calculating your monthly debts and your expenses. So whether you're a borrower of a credit card, how much are you paying towards that? How much are you paying towards gas? How much are you paying towards electricity or rent or mortgage? Calculate all of your expenses together that are necessary expenses. Then multiply that number by the amount of months that you would ideally like to have in that emergency savings account. Now, that number specifically is the end goal. Now, as I've mentioned before, 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses or money to have in an emergency savings account sounds like a lot, and it can be very discouraging, especially if we are living paycheck to paycheck. However, I can tell you that it is achievable. I am, and I don't know if you all are, but I am very much a proponent of being motivated by the wins. My motivation comes from me achieving something. So I like to set small benchmarks for myself. I don't focus on that big number just yet, because as soon as I look at that and I see where I'm at, it's very easy for me to get discouraged, distracted, and just let it all go. So for me, I want to accept all of the wins that I've been able to accomplish during that savings journey, whether it be, hey, I was able to put some money away and not touch it for a few days, or yesterday I put $1, today I'm going to put $2, or I'm going to put $1.50, and I'm going to just see it grow. Understand that the small wins are rather significant, especially if you're embarking on this journey for the very first time. Step 2 is to get a strong budget. So as I mentioned at the beginning, or at step 1, it's important to understand all of your expenses and be able to identify them. When it comes to a budget, not only are you supposed to identify or be able to identify all of your expenses and how much you spend on every single little thing, down to the Starbucks cup that you bought yesterday morning. And then also calculate how much money is coming in. So this income can be from your employer, it can be from government aid, it can be from our gift, it could be from any type of money that you see or that you're getting in your hand that you are utilizing to purchase things. That is all income. So it's very important to know the 2 key components: your income, what you're bringing in, and your expenses. And once you are able to calculate all of that and understand how much money is left over, it will also help you create a realistic goal for yourself. In order to have a goal in mind and to achieve it, and to by understanding how much money is left over, it's important that you have SMART goals. And by SMART, I mean specific, measurable, attainable or adjustable, timely, measurable and specific. Now I'm forgetting how to spell SMART. Specific, measurable, attainable or adjustable, realistic, and timely. If you have all of these key components when it comes to coming up with some sort of savings goal, you will be able to achieve anything when it comes to your financial success. as long as you know and you understand that it needs to be realistic with what that budget is telling you have left over. It needs to be adjustable. There are a bunch of different road bumps that we are going to go over that are going to cause us to potentially push that goalpost back. And it's going to cause us to delay the amount of savings and when we're trying to achieve that savings goal. So you need to be able to be flexible and understand that it might not happen exactly when you want it to happen, but as long as it's specific, as long as you can measure it, as long as you understand that it can be adjusted, as long as it is realistic with the budget that you see and that you've set a timeline for yourself, you can achieve it. So step 3 is finding the right savings vehicle. And what I mean by that is identifying a savings account that is going to work for you and what you're trying to achieve from it. Ideally, you want an account that's not going to cost you money for safeguarding your money at that financial institution. You want an emergency savings account to be accessible at any time, and otherwise that is known as a liquid account. So liquid accounts are where you can go to an ATM or you can go to a branch and quickly withdraw the money without any questions asked to you. And also, we want to be able to have our money grow while it is sitting there. You won't be able to do that if you are safeguarding your money in a piggy bank or in a shoebox or at home or wherever. A savings account is not only going to safeguard your money, but it's also going to grow for you without you doing anything at all. Well, we want you to deposit money, but other than that, you do not have to lift a finger to be able to watch that money grow. So when we talk about compound interest is basically added to the principal deposit so that there is more interest that can be gained from already accumulated interest. And an example of that is you have a savings account, and in that savings account you have $100. Well, that financial institution is going to give you a 10% rate annually for the money that you are depositing in there. So for the first year, the 10% that they're going to give you back off of that $100 is $10. So that $10 of simple interest return on the first year is great, right? Are you thinking you're going to get $10 again the next year? Wrong. So the following year, you are going to get 10% off of that $110, which is going to be $11. So if we add that $11 in interest plus the $110 that you had the previous year, you now have $121. And so that is how a compound interest grows over time. And now a savings account, regular savings account, can do that for you, but not quite like some other types of accounts that can earn you more money with very little to no risk at all. So we have our liquid or short term type of certificates. The first account is our regular savings account, which again, it still grows your money, but just not at a high rate compared to what a money market could do for you. A money market account does require a higher deposit amount, but it does provide you with a significantly higher rate of return as your money sits there and it grows. Then we have our short-term certificates. Now, before I get into our short-term certificates, the savings account and the money market account are liquid assets. You can take those out at any time without any penalties or any fees that are being associated to that account going from whatever amount to zero. So just keep that in mind. When it comes to certificates, there are some contingencies with regard to this type of account. It is a savings account, and it's going to earn you a significantly higher amount of interest than compared to a money market or a savings account. The caveat here is that there are terms that you need to meet. So certificates themselves can go anywhere from 3 months of your money sitting there while it accrues interest, all the way up to years and years of the money sitting there and accruing interest over time. Now, the part that I'm saying is a caveat is because if you have a 3-month short-term certificate or what bigger banks call a certificate of deposit, you are not allowed to withdraw those funds until the certificate terms, meaning anytime between now and before the 3 months is up. If you withdraw your funds, you do risk there being a penalty associated with taking out the funds early. And you definitely will not earn the amount of interest that you were promised if you were to keep the money there for 3 months time. So just keep that in mind. If you are wanting to rapidly grow your emergency savings account, it's really important for you to get a good idea of where you want your money to go, how quickly you want it to grow, but also have a cushion in place so that not all of your money that is an emergency savings is in a certificate that, again, if you take it out too early, you're not going to grow any money on. Then we have our long-term or no easy access type of accounts. And as I mentioned, certificates are not as easy to get out. But if you are in, like, say, for instance, a 10-year term certificate of deposit or certificate at a credit union, it is definitely harder to get out. You risk ending up having to pay the compound interest that may have accrued on that account, depending on how long you've had it in there, and most likely some other fees associated with that. Other type of long-term accounts are your retirement accounts. So there's your 401k or your IRA. These are definitely savings vehicles that should be the very, very last choice that you make to withdraw. These should be the very last accounts that you think of to have to cover an emergency expense. And why do I say that is because not only are you risking some sort of penalties or fees because the funds might not be yet ready for you to take out, meaning you have not reached 59 and a half years old or older, you are risking significant penalties associated with it, not to mention, just depending on the type of retirement account you have, what the taxes look like on that. So definitely read the fine print if you're signing up for any of these types of accounts, especially when it comes to your 401k or your IRA. See what every stipulation is. And again, make this the very last resort if you have to take out this type of money for an emergency. So when opening up an emergency account, this is not me being biased at all, I promise you. Consider a savings account at a credit union. Why? Because credit unions are notoriously known for providing you better interest rates and higher dividends on your savings accounts and certificates, as well as lower interest rates when it comes to taking out a loan if you need to. Credit unions, again, are people helping people, so they're not in it for a profit like bigger banks are when it comes to growing your money. So definitely look at whatever options are available to you in your neighborhood, whether that be a different credit union than Safe or a bigger bank. I encourage you to visit both of them and see what both of them are willing to offer you, and then go with the best choice for you and your lifestyle. If you want to achieve a higher amount, compared to what a regular savings account can offer you, definitely look into a money market. But as I've mentioned before, there is a deposit minimum. What that minimum looks like depends on what the financial institution that you are visiting is setting for that type of account. Note that these are not investment accounts, which investment accounts will definitely earn you a higher rate of return, but there is a higher rate of risk. Money markets, regular savings accounts, and certificates are little to zero risk at all for you. Actually, there's zero risk to you because you are guaranteed to get your money back when it comes to these accounts. That's why we have insurance. Okay, so 5 ways to fund your emergency savings account. So some ways to start building your foundation and to get you started can be as simple as having a yard sale or garage sale, selling your items on Facebook Marketplace safely. So be very careful for scammers because that's a very easy environment for you to get scammed and have your items stolen, if not your money. Earn while you spend. So utilize, if you are or you feel like you are a wise credit card user, utilize a credit card that offers you cash back rewards or points, anything that's going to reward you for spending the money. Now, keep in mind that if you have a budget already in place and you are utilizing your credit card for things like gas or groceries, and you turn back around and pay off whatever you just charged because you've budgeted for it, you are rewarding yourself. Not only rewarding yourself in terms of getting those instant rewards from your credit card, but you are rewarding yourself because you are being responsible with your money and you have a budget that in that moment is foolproof. So definitely look at what your credit card has to offer, look at your budget, and utilize both so that you can reap those rewards. Again, it's very easy to do, but it's also a very easy thing to use and abuse. So definitely take that into account if you are considering opening up a cash rewards type of credit card without full knowledge of your finances and your spending habits. Another way that you can help fund your emergency fund or emergency account is by decreasing your expenses. So your budget is going to tell you out loud, well, not out loud, but it's going to tell you where you are kicking butt when it comes to being able to save money and spend it wisely. And it's also going to tell you where your budget might need a little bit of TLC, meaning you are overspending at Starbucks, you are maybe you are dining out a little too often at lunch, or you are really not accounting for all these little miscellaneous purchases that really do add up. And or maybe you're buying higher brand items at the grocery store. Where can you decrease these expenses? I know that for my husband and I, when we reevaluated our budget, we definitely learned that we were subscribing to way too many TV subscriptions, and we quickly cut a lot of those out. And in return, we were saving close to $100 a month on not subscribing to every TV outlet that we possibly can. So that extra $100 is going towards our vacation fund, which is money that we didn't have because we were spending it on stuff that we weren't utilizing. What about that gym membership? Are you really utilizing it, or are you telling yourself, I have it because one day I'm going to do it. One day I'm going to do it. And instead of me canceling it, I'm going to keep it there so that I keep myself motivated. But you never go. Figure out these ways to decrease your spending. If you are a person that goes to the grocery store and you spend a lot of money there when you only intended on getting milk and cereal, write a list and stick to it. Challenge yourself to go straight towards the aisles that you need to and to not peruse around. Change the way that you think about change. Gone are the days where we feel like we can really stretch that quarter or the nickel that we used to get or we used to get excited because we found a penny on the floor. Those days are long gone, and a lot of people don't understand or appreciate how change can really affect one's building of a savings account. And the reason why I say that is because if you are collecting change, even if it's not in a savings account and you don't touch it, it's going to grow and grow and grow and grow until it's big enough to where you're able to buy something with it. It will accumulate over time and it still holds its worth. It still means something in the grand scheme of being able to save and make purchases and cover yourself in case of an emergency. So rethink about the way that you think about change. And if you want, challenge yourself with no spend days. These no spend days are definitely going to help you when it comes to the greater picture of building up your savings account or your emergency savings account. I know that us as adults and if we have little ones, it's definitely a difficult thing to do, especially if we are being thrown every which way when it comes to paying the bills, making sure that we are keeping our kids afloat, making sure that we're eating and all that good stuff. Figure out how you can either eliminate spending for a day or just minimize it. So create success with an emergency fund. Start with a small goal. Remember, I told you that you don't have to think of the bigger picture or the end goal in mind in order to continue to inch forward. Create yourself some goalposts and some benchmarks. And once you establish or you meet one of those, celebrate it, because that is 1 inch closer to that end goal. Feel the excitement that you have been able to accomplish something that you might not have been able to once before. You've created an amount of money that you didn't have before, and now you're watching it grow, and you are contributing towards that growth. Pretend that your savings account or your emergency savings account isn't there. I am a huge proponent of out of sight, out of mind. For me, my emergency savings account is in a financial institution that I do not have quick access to, meaning it's not in my neighborhood. I can't immediately transfer money and use it. It's definitely one that I might have to go through a few hoops and hurdles in order to get to it. But nonetheless, that's how I operate in order to keep that money there. I also have a percentage of my funds from my check go directly into that account so that I am not having to see the money exchange from my hand into that account, or even having to go through the motions of transferring the money out, because more times than not, if I have to go through the motions, I most likely will not, because I think about all the things that I can buy with that, or what I can increase when it comes to my grocery budget or my fund budget or whatever the case is. Start with a new account or for irregular purchases. So if you do have, that your car registration is coming up, or maybe your insurance is coming up annually, prepare yourself for all of this. If you have a spending account for bills versus a spending account for wants, that might be a good way to start off to reorganize yourself when it comes to your spending. So think about all the abilities that you have. Again, when it comes to building up multiple accounts or having separate accounts for every which expense, definitely look into a financial institution that is not going to charge you for safeguarding your money. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open it up to Q&A right now. I know we have Maureen in here, so we'll go ahead and introduce her in just 1 second. You will see me or my lovely colleague Savannah teaching more financial education related topics. However, if you are itching to learn more in between that time, we do teach on financial wellness education topics on a revolving basis. We teach about 4 to 5 every month on different topics stemming from how to build your savings, how to manage your budget, how to understand your credit score, even to how to save for your next home. So these are all things that we cover. So if you are interested, just follow along with us on social media or take a peek at our website, or you can bug Kurt and then he'll bug us for those upcoming dates. Alrighty, Kurt, I think we are good to go.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much, Miriam, for that. And while you were just wrapping that up, I literally pulled out my phone and scanned that QR code and opened it up just to look at that as well. So, but I'll make sure to get this link out to this particular website address. If you don't have pen and paper handy, or you can't scan the QR code, I'll make sure to send it to you all in a follow-up. But thank you so much for this. And like Miriam said, we have if there are any Q&As, there's still time. You can drop a question in there. But we're going to go ahead, and I see that Maureen has joined us. She's a good friend from the Financial Empowerment Center with the International Rescue Committee, and also a former colleague and co-worker of mine, just a really wonderful person, and we're glad to have her on to share a little bit more about this resource. So Maureen, feel free to come off mute and chat with us a little bit. We'll exit stage right or left on the computer screen for people so that you have the full, and we'll try to make sure that you are a co-host, so that way you can share your screen if
Cool.
you would like. So, all right.
Thank you. And thank you for
We'll
that
do that here.
introduction. I caught the tail end of Miriam's presentation, which looked super helpful. And I was glad to catch it. Hi, everybody. My name is Maureen Paley. I'm the manager of the Sacramento Financial Empowerment Center. And this evening, I wanted to tell you a little bit about what we do over at the Financial Empowerment Center. You'll hear me call it the FEC quite a bit, and a little bit about what we do, how we can help you achieve your goals, and if you're interested, how you can go ahead and make an appointment. So I do have a presentation I am looking forward to sharing with you. I'm just going to pull it up and get us started. Okay, let's get this. There we go. So again, Sacramento Financial Empowerment Center, you'll hear me call it the FEC. We are a free service of the city of Sacramento. So can you just see just my slides, or do you see a script as well?
It's we can see the script.
You can. I don't know how to.
So
This is
stop sharing, and then are you on one screen or on multiple?
So maybe if I unplug that screen, the screen's off. The second screen is off. So
Okay, so once you hit share, there is going to be a symbol on the bottom that shows like the PowerPoint symbol, and it should be right next to it. It should show the first slide that you have. Click on that one.
Miriam.
There you go.
That's it, right? We fixed it. Miriam fixed it, everybody. Thanks, Miriam.
You're welcome.
Oh, great. So we are a service of the city of Sacramento. And what we do there at the Financial Empowerment Center is we offer free, totally no cost, one-on-one professional financial coaching to anyone 18 years or older in Sacramento. So it's important to know that there are no eligibility requirements for our program. There's no income limits. We basically just want to know that you are an adult, you are over 18 or over, and that you reside in Sacramento. It's also important to note that we offer our financial coaching services in a variety of languages. English, we also have a coach who's bilingual in Spanish and a coach who's also bilingual in Dari, Farsi, and Urdu. There are other languages, language support options available upon request. All right, so I am very happy to introduce you, at least over this slide, to our financial coaches. This is our team of full-time financial coaches right here. They have gone through a fairly rigorous, about 3-month training process. So basically, after they get hired, they don't get to see clients until 3 months later when they go through a whole training curriculum and they have to pass exams. So what they learn in that training is they learn about personal finance topics. So they have the technical knowledge about things like budgets and credit and debt, so on and so forth. And they also learn the coaching skills that help them help clients tap into their own personal motivation to meet those goals. Like I mentioned, they have to pass a standardized national exam with an organization called CFE Fund, and they also need to complete ongoing education to stay fresh in their skills. So this slide is important because it gives you the big areas that we work on with clients. So we help clients with a lot of things regarding their finances, but not everything. So I think this will help paint the picture about what we actually can help with. So I call these the 4 broad brushstrokes of the FEC. So what we help clients with is, first of all, banking. We help clients access safe and affordable banking products. I think Miriam just said that, it's a shame if we are depositing our money with banking institutions and they're charging us for that, and it actually drains our money. So we believe that as well. So we at the FEC are interested in helping you find the right bank account for your situation. and ideally one that is safe and affordable so that you can meet your banking goals. So some people come to us and they don't have bank accounts just yet. Maybe they've never had one. Some people come to us and they can't get a banking account because of their history, something's going on there. And that's totally okay. So we find a way to work with those individuals. And also sometimes people come to us like with a bank account that they're not really using in their day-to-day finances. So we would support them to use that more often as well. So the second area that we help clients with is credit. We help clients establish and improve their credit. So some people come to us and they haven't even had a chance to establish a credit score or a credit history just yet. So we walk clients through the steps that they would need to take to go ahead and establish a credit score and a credit history, which inevitably in the United States will help them meet their lifestyle needs for things like buying a car, financing an education, so on and so forth. We also help our clients improve credit. So if someone does come to us with credit that needs improving, we will walk them through the steps of what to prioritize. It's important to know that we run credit reports with clients. We do that as part of our coaching sessions. We take a look at the credit report where the coaches are trained in how to read credit reports and how to separate out what clients might want to do in the short term to address their credit situation, in the medium term, and in the long term. So that's like the credit piece. And then hand in hand with that is also reducing debt. So usually when we're working to reduce debt, we naturally start helping clients improve credit. And the next part, the last part, is growing savings. And it sounds like this is what the topic is tonight, is to encourage us to build our savings. So how do we do that at the FEC? Well, we help you set your savings goals, and then through consistent meetings with your coach, you can gradually work up to meeting that savings goal. And so these are the 4 broad areas we work on with clients. And I like to say these are all wrapped up in one very important process, and that's called budgeting. So if you think about it, you need to have a budget that you're working with in order to establish or improve the credit, in order to reduce the debt, grow the savings, and use the banking to your benefit. This is an important slide because it lets people know what financial coaching at the FEC is and is not. So the important thing to know is what the financial coaching is not. That we usually start with that description. This is what financial coaching is not at the FEC. It's not a quick fix. It is very true that all of us at some point have experienced a very urgent financial situation that we could really use a quick fix for. I think the nature of a lot of these financial challenges that we help clients with is they do take time. So they don't take forever, but you can imagine if you're someone who would like to raise your credit score, maybe 50 or 100 points to help you qualify for better lending terms, it's going to take a pathway of several months to get you there. So I bring that to say, if you are in dire straits and in dire need, we can still help you, but it's in order to set expectations about the fact that a lot of this progress and a lot of these goals will take time to get to. Financial coaching is also not legal advice. We don't provide any legal advice around family law, any type of other legal areas. Sometimes folks come to us needing to owe money maybe to the IRS or needing to file taxes from past years. That's not something that we do at the FEC. We also don't provide any cash or rental assistance. So sometimes folks might come to us saying, hey, I need some help paying my rent, and that's not something that we have access to. We don't have access to those types of funds. It's also not get rich advice. Again, similar to the quick fix, this is a gradual process of stepping towards your goals with the support of a coach. We don't provide investment advice or financial planning. Sometimes people come to us looking for information on retirement and so on and so forth, and that's just something that's out of scope. We also don't provide therapy. While our coaches are very compassionate and they're very good listeners, it's really important for us to set expectations that we are not therapists in the clinical sense. So if we identify that a client is needing more support than we can offer, especially mental health support, we will work to offer that client a referral to a therapist or to a clinician that can help them. So let's talk a little bit about what financial coaching is. First and foremost, it's a supportive relationship. You get to be in a relationship with your coach that you're definitely going to see more than once, right? If you come for financial coaching just for one appointment, you're not going to see any results, right? You have to come for several appointments in order to see results. Our coaches are really great at practicing non-judgment. They've seen so many different financial situations. Sometimes clients come to us and they say, I'm the worst you've seen, aren't I? Right? We don't look at it like that. So we want you to know that we don't pass judgment on anybody's financial situation. We're really there to help. And again, it's a process that takes time, which is also focus on encouraging the clients to direct their progress, state their goals and work towards them. I have relationship again because it's so important to reiterate it. This really is a relationship that with ongoing consistency can really help you get to your goals. And it's also based on evidence-based results. So the organization that built our coaching model, they are very much focused on research and what the research tells them about what's actually good for communities and families when they need financial support. So being that we practice in that model, that's the basis of our coaching as well. So real quick, I just want to let you know what it's like to work with a coach. So the first appointments, the very first time that you meet with a coach, it usually lasts about 60 to 90 minutes. The coach does something called a financial health assessment, which they basically walk you through a series of questions that you answer, and the coach records the answers. So this is kind of like going to the doctor's office, and when you go in, they always do your heart rate and they get you on the scale and they put the blood pressure cuff on you. It's really to get a baseline about how you're doing. So they'll complete that with you. And then they'll also do something called a money tracker. And this is really tracking all of your income and all of your expenses month to month to get a clear picture about what's going on with your finances. The coaches will also run credit reports. It's important to know that these do not affect your credit score at all because we actually run them in your name. It's not like a car dealership that's running them to see if you qualify for some type of credit. And we help you start establishing goals. So that's where you start making goals for your budget, for your banking, your credit, your debt, and your savings. So that's the first appointment. And then about 2 weeks later, give or take, you'll have a follow-up appointment with a coach that's usually about 30 to 60 minutes. So the follow-up appointments are really a way, in between your first appointment and your second, you're going to walk away and you're going to do some footwork and take some steps and take some actions that's going to get you to your second appointment where you can report into the coach to let them know how it went. And then you and your coach can decide what else needs to be addressed to get you to your goals. And this pacing is typical pacing for a client relationship at the FEC, but you and your coach get to decide how often you'll meet to support your goals. I've coached clients where I had a first few meetings with them, maybe the first 2 or 3, probably about 2 weeks apart. And then the clients were feeling really good about their progress. They were feeling confident and they said, you know what, I just need to meet once a month. So we extended it out to once a month. So this slide just shares with you a few other ways that we can help. Not only can we provide you with the financial education and the technical assistance to navigate all these financial systems that you might be involved in, but we provide accountability, and accountability is what really increases chances of success over time. So by meeting with a coach and staying consistent, you actually would increase your chances of success to meet your goals. We can also support you in accessing what I call consumer friendly lending products. The organization that we're partnered with has relatively low interest rate loans that can help you with things like building credit. For example, if you've never built credit or if you need to rebuild credit, we can help you access a 0% $100 loan that you would pay back over 6 months. So it's a very small loan that's very user-friendly in the fact that most people can pay that back because the monthly payment is about $16.67 per month. So this can help you establish credit for the first time, or it can help you rebuild your credit track record. We can also offer some referrals to a program, I should say, within our organization called Mosaic. They specialize in small business workshops, technical assistance, and access to capital. This is also free. And then just a reminder that you can pause coaching and start again at any time. You don't have to complete the program. It's good if you maintain that consistency with the coach, because again, that increases your chances of success. And we have some success stories on our website. I'll share those in a moment. So if you're thinking that you might want to make an appointment with a coach, we have a way for you to do that. There's a few ways for you to do that. You can always email fec@cityofsacramento.org. That goes directly to me. You can call this number. That goes directly to me as well. What might even be more convenient and less back and forth is if you scan this QR code. This will take you to our scheduling tool where you can, you could do it in the next 60 seconds. If you scan this QR code, fill out the information, it'll take you to a scheduling tool where you can book an appointment directly to a coach's calendar tonight if you wanted to do that. So that is usually the most efficient way to get in touch with a coach and get on their calendar. So I'm going to stop there, and I would love to take any questions. And I know that Kurt will help me out and let me know if there's anything that this group needs to hear that I didn't cover. Please do let me know, and I'd be happy to share.
Thank you, Maureen.
Sure.
If there's any questions, you can drop it in the Q&A, but I think you covered all the bases. So
nice.
That was excellent. And again, along with this this contact information, I'll be making sure to send it out in a follow-up email in the next week or so, where you'll also have a recording of this so you can watch it again, because there was some great information tonight from Maureen. You missed it earlier. I was calling it Team M&M tonight, giving us all the exactly. So greatly appreciate both of you, and for those who made time to join us live tonight, and for those who I know will take time to listen to these presentations. And we fully recognize, whether you're on this call live or you're watching it recorded, some of you are doing this and you're going through a really difficult time. It not only just with finances, but it can be personal things. And our heartbeat is genuinely that you find the support that you need, and consider us a part of that team to support you. And so we're very grateful for each of our 80 households that are represented in this cohort, and we're excited to provide these resources to you. So again, I just want to say thank you to Miriam with Safe Credit Union, Maureen with the Financial Empowerment Center. Thank you to those who joined us. We'll let you go on that note, and we'll see you next month. I'll be sending out a calendar invite for that next one, as well as you'll learn more about the subject that we'll dive into in October. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your evening. Take care.